Tom Power.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a name for a Superman interview.
I know. I could be either a villain or a friend.
We'll have to wait to find out.
Thanks for being here. Edmonton, growing up there, comic book kid. What was your go-to comic book store in Edmonton?
When we were lads, my dad would take us to the Wee Book Inn on White Avenue, and we would buy secondhand comic books. We would take all the comic books that we were willing to let go of, trade them in, and get a stack half as big of secondhand comic books. And my dad would buy us the rest of the stack of secondhand comics. So my tastes were kind of across the spectrum. I didn't start collecting with the, numerically in titles. It was a grab bag of different things. I remember just crazy tastes.
Were you intense about it? Were you an intense comic book person?
Not at first. A little later on, I started, I had the comic book rack in my room, that metal pocketed merry-go-round that creaked and squeaked as it turned, comics for all ages. I had my books in plastic envelopes with the cardboard backing and filed them correctly.
What was the comic you were obsessed with?
I was huge on Spider-Man. I was really, really big on the X-Men and Batman. Batman was a super favorite of mine. I just thought he was so cool.
Here's the reason I ask this is because you both know what it's like. You have a rare occasion that you know what it's like to be a fan, and you know what it's like to be at the center of intense fandom. You do a lot of projects with like extreme vocal, passionate fans, and you yourself were a very deep fan. How much does that knowledge of a fandom raise the stakes when you do a film like Superman, where there is an existing pretty intense fandom?
Does it raise the stakes, or does it just make it that much easier?
Tell me.
Having a love for it myself, I don't feel like I have to service fans out there. I feel more like I have to service me because I'm one of the fans. I am the fan with the fortunate experience of not only having a front row seat, I'm actually in the catbird seat.
Oh, you're one of them. I understand that. You're not like thinking about, okay, what are because I went to the screening the other night and there were the capes and the shirts and the tights and the outfits and the whole thing all around me. But you're saying I don't got to think about the intense Superman fans because I'm one of them.
I wore a fedora to the second Indiana Jones movie.
I'll be clear. This was not because you were in it. This is because
no. That's because I was the guy. I was one of the guys who was like, "Yep." My mom said, "I'm not letting you take that whip on the bus, though."
That's really sweet, and that's really sweet. That means that you care for and understand the people who are going to be very excited about this movie.
I am a fan. I am a fan of comic books. It's all the stuff I got in trouble for when I was a kid, daydreaming and drawing in the margins of my binders when I should have been studying. It's all prepared me for this moment.
Well, let's take this moment and bring in the folks who might be a little new to it. So you play Guy Gardner.
Terrific. How do they work? They make his face look different in your brain when he wears them so that you don't know who he is?
Yes, I know this.
So you know he's Clark Kent.
Why does he trust everyone?
He doesn't. Just us, because we are also of the cloth.
Of the cloth?
Can you describe him for people who may not be as familiar with him, and maybe make sure you include the bowl cut in there?
The Green Lantern Corps is an intergalactic peacekeeping force or a police force of sorts under the guidance of the Guardians of Oa, who have weaponized or harnessed the power of will, that you can focus through a Green Lantern ring that you recharge from a lantern to form constructs that are all a function of will. You don't have to be good to be a Green Lantern. You just have to be fearless. You have to have willpower. Now, if you have an issue, a dilemma on a planetary scale, you need a Green Lantern. It is one of the most powerful weapons in the universe, this Green Lantern ring. But if you were to get Guy Gardner, you'd be disappointed and say, is there a chance there's a different Green Lantern available?
Why? Tell me about Guy Gardner.
He's a jerk. He has a chip on his shoulder. he has had a very tumultuous life growing up. He doesn't like the idea of being passed up or overlooked. He is a sexist. He is a narcissist. He is egomaniacal. He is self-centered. I took a lot of inspiration from Estelle Getty in The Golden Girls. She had a stroke, and that part of her brain that filters out, maybe I shouldn't say this, had been damaged, as was Guy Gardner. He was in an accident. He was hit by a bus and spent some time in a coma at one point. And I said, I'm going to take that and say there was a click in there to an already damaged guy. Now he just doesn't have that filter anymore. And this is who he is. He's the guy who is flawed. He's a flawed guy, but he's a great Green Lantern. He's powerful.
I didn't know that was part of the Sophia backstory in The Golden Girls. That
she had a stroke. That's why she always said those terrible things.
Oh.
Mom, you can't say that. Oh my God. What? Well, yeah, she'd had a stroke.
Oh, I understand. And then you think to yourself, okay, that's how she was. Green Lantern, he seems weirdly jealous of Superman. He'll say anything at all to anybody. I'm gonna channel that story.
I think Guy Gardner is probably jealous of other Green Lanterns who are considered better than he is. I think he thinks he's better than Superman for some reason. For sure he thinks he can take Superman on. He cannot. He cannot. Superman's Superman, man.
There's an online video of the cast and crew of Superman surprising you on Canada Day with a cake.
That's right.
How often do you find yourself talking about being Canadian in Hollywood?
Not enough. I hear all the time, you're Canadian? How did I not know that? To which I say, how did you not know that? I advertise constantly. I'm really fond of being a Canadian.
Did you watch
it's my superpower.
Did you watch the Oilers? Were you watching the Stanley Cup Finals?
I did. Those guys were doing great. Yeah. They were doing great. I think they should be very proud of everything they accomplished.
Given that you were growing up Canadian, do you remember the Heritage Minute with Superman in it?
No one's gonna read a comic strip about a strong man in tights, Joe. It'll never fly.
Fly, no. But he can leap over tall buildings. Oh, wow, yeah.
See what your cousin Frank says in Toronto.
Wait, Lois. I've got something for you. Here, take it. It's a gift. You never know, it might be worth something someday.
Yes, I remember that very, very well. I remember all of those little Canadian vignettes that I love so much.
For people who don't know, the Superman character, co-created by Canadian artist Joe Shuster. Metropolis, he said, modeled on Toronto. The Daily Planet, inspired by the Toronto Star, which he delivered as a kid.
Love it. Love it. This has been a Canadian minute.
Growing up in Edmonton, reading the Superman comics, were you putting yourself in the stories? Were you starting to imagine yourself as an actor?
I remember the old Superman series with George Reeves. My play school teacher would set up a lunch table in front of the TV, and we would watch Superman while we had lunch in play school. And whenever Superman would pop out of a window to fly away, she would always say, "Oh, I could sure use a cape like that." And I thought the source of Superman's power was a cape. So I was the kid putting a towel with a safety pin around my neck, flying around the house, and that was my thing. Yeah.
Did you want to be an actor from that? Is that the beginnings of you? Is that your origin story?
I wanted to be a superhero. I didn't know acting was a thing. I didn't know. I wanted to be on Gilligan's Island because I was never a big fan of winter, but here was the television. It was a window into a world that never snowed, and there was always sand on the beach, and always this tropical. I have an affinity for tropical locations because of my love for Gilligan's Island. And I remember running home at 3:30 as fast as my little legs could carry me because Gilligan's Island was on at 4, and I did not want to miss it. That was my little vacation in the middle of the day, looking through this magic TV window. And now I live there. They used to film it. The Gilligan's Island is not too far from, it used to be, not too far from where I live, down at Radford Studios. I didn't know it was a reality. I didn't know people would pay you to act. I had no idea what that was all about.
When did you figure out that it was a thing? When did you figure that acting was a thing and that you wanted to do it?
When I was in Edmonton attending theater sports at Rapid Fire at, I think now the Varscona, that beautifully new, well done. They did a nice renovation on that. Old crappy theater is now a big, beautiful, modern accomplishment. It's fantastic. I was a young man getting my start there doing some theater sports, and then they would pull you out of there to go do some corporate events or little nightclubs here and there to entertain for a little while. You get money. Didn't know that was a thing. It was enough to buy you a couple of beers afterwards. It was nice.
But at least you knew to get into theater sports in the first place tells me that you knew that you wanted to at least try acting, or you're like performing and that kind of stuff.
You know, I was a very shy kid. And in 5th grade, I kind of made a choice not to be shy anymore. And I befriended one of the class clowns, and I think mentored under him. And Cam German was his name. He's out there somewhere. Hi, Cam. I thought it was just a lot more fun not being shy. I'm still shy. I still get a lot of anxiety in certain circumstances, but I just pretend I'm not.
So are you shy now? Not maybe with me, but shy in your own life, and you have to kind of, put on a bit of a character?
I mean, shy is I think like a fear in general. I don't think I'm certainly as shy as I used to be, but there are social situations that do give me anxiety. I feel it, and you mix alcohol into that. If people are drinking, my anxiety goes up even higher, and that's just, I think, a result of my experiences with crowds of people on alcohol, and my job being what it is. But by and large, my experiences are really, really positive, and I think meeting new people and seeing what they're like is one of my favorite things to do.
I get it. It's not one thing. It's the other. I will say, like, you can tell your comfort on stage even in the early days. I've heard you mention rapid fire theater before, and being part of the Edmonton Fringe. I found a clip.
Don't move.
So that's Nathan Fillion performing on stage at the University in Alberta in a play called Zastrazi back in 1993. Nathan is dressed like a sword fighter dueling to the death. Do you remember that play?
It was a exhilarating experience.
Not everyone would have that instinct as a performer. Like some performers would freeze in that moment. Some performers wouldn't know what to do. I felt like you had the confidence there to go, don't move, gets a laugh from the audience, the comfort to go back to the backstage, grab a new sword, come out. You look at the sword, sort of do a little joke with the sword, make sure it's all right.
Make sure it's going to work. Make sure it's not going to break.
And then you go to then you go right back in. I feel like not everyone has that instinct,
What a memory. I'll tell you, if anybody has an interest in acting or just about being prepared in life in general, please go to your local theater and get involved in improv. It has prepared me for life in a way that I cannot tell you. It has had more benefits for me just in becoming accustomed to failure. Fail. Please go out there, fail, fall on your face in front of a crowd of people. Let it lose its luster. Let failure lose its value to you.
I've never heard it put that way. I think about improv as, you learn about risk, or you learn about how to build a community. You learn how to say yes to people. You learn how to make the best out of any situation that you're in. I had never thought about it as sometimes it's not going to work. And sometimes you're going to do a scene and it's going to blow and be terrible.
Yes.
And improv actually teaches you to be okay with that.
Yes. You could desensitize yourself to failure. It's a fantastic skill.
I promise this does tie back to Superman. Can you tell me about, who could forget, the PG porn series?
That was when the writer's strike was happening here in Los Angeles. The joke was it's pornography for people who love everything about porn except the sex.
So yeah, that's big slice of the population there.
Is Norman here?
Do you mean Norman Grimes, the foreman of this construction site?
Mm-hmm.
He just took a trip to the lumber yard.
It was a lot of fun, a lot of very unusual, a lot of parody type sketch comedy sort of thing about porn and our concepts of porn.
So the reason I bring that up, of course, is because James Gunn, who you did that with, is the director and the writer of the new Superman movie. And you guys worked together on 7 films, including all 3 Guardian of the Galaxy films. What is it that you get from one another when you work with one another? Like, what is it? Can you put into words what clicks between the two of you that you work together so much?
If you know you're going to expect, it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it, of course. You hope you're going to have a great experience. When I go to work for James Gunn, I know I'm going to be telling a great story. I know I'm going to be happy in the day-to-day. I mean, it's only up on screen for, an hour or so, but you spend weeks or months doing it. But that's the time that really matters to me. It's like, who am I going to be spending my time with? What am I going to be spending my time doing? When you work on a James Gunn project, you're going to have a high quality, fulfilling time. I know what I'm going to get out of a James Gunn project. And I am just so pleased that he just keeps thinking to put me in all his pieces. I can't be, I tell him, I say, listen, you're going to get tired of hearing me say thank you, but so I'll just use the code word. I'm just going to say right in the nuts. Thanks, buddy. Right in the nuts.
One of the lines from PG Porn. Just a few weeks ago, you were back in Alberta at the Concordia University of Edmonton to accept an honorary degree, a doctorate. Congratulations, Dr. Fillion.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. I found out, though, however, the only thing I'm actually allowed to prescribe is more cowbell.
I watched your speech online. It was warm and funny, and of course, that's no surprise. I will say, pretty helpful. I mean, you were talking a little bit about the lessons you learned from improv around failure. Do you remember the 3 keys to success you laid out to those graduates?
Be lucky, be grateful, and pretend to be bold.
Can you take me through those?
Being lucky is about being ready when an opportunity comes. I think I read an article. The difference between lucky people and unlucky people is gratitude. I often think to myself, when I see someone complaining about their job, I often ask them, where would you rather be right now? Because when I'm at work, even on my worst day, there's nowhere I would rather be. That's my love for this job. Being lucky means showing up. Being lucky means being prepared. Anything that's within your control, control it. That's what being lucky means. Recognize when something is available to you. Understand, if you break your leg, lucky thing you didn't break both.
Got that one. Got gratitude. Gratitude is the byproduct of luck. If you're lucky, and you are, let me see if I get this right. The difference between someone who's lucky and is unlucky is whether they show gratitude for it. I understand that one as well. The gratitude's important. Pretend to be bold. That's the one that stuck me.
Being bold is really hard to do. It's really hard to be brave and be all those things, but you can pretend to be those things. It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to just, but take a minute and pretend you're not. It's been my success. I was having a terrible time in auditions. The stakes were so high. I needed the job, and I found it difficult to leave an audition just with my dignity. So I decided I'm not going to go to these auditions anymore. I'm going to send the character, Nathan Fillion, professional actor. When you hire me, this is who you hire. Someone who is not trying to be your best friend. I don't laugh at all your jokes if they're not funny. If I say, do you need me sitting? And you say, no, stand for this. It's not going to throw me off. If a phone rings in the middle of my audition, I'm not going to be shaken. I don't ask if I can start again. I just start again if I need to. And I control what I need to control. If the reader is doing a terrible job, I'll say, hang on one second, let's stop. I know you've done this 30 times. I only got the one crack at it. Give me something I can work with. Let's you and me make a beautiful scene. All right, let's roll this again. And I control it. That allowed me the dignity I needed and allowed me to perform with integrity, I think.
It's just something you've been doing forever, man.
I figured it out a long time ago, I didn't realize what it was I was doing. I didn't quantify it into the three steps to success that I would use for a commencement speech to getting my honorary doctorate. But there you have it. I've been doing these things my whole life, and the whole of my professional life, certainly. And it's been working pretty good so far.
Well, have you been able to take a moment and go, I was a kid in Edmonton going to, what was the name of the shop again?
The Wee Book Inn.
I was a kid going to the Wee Book Inn, and through those three things, luck and gratitude, and I love pretending to be bold. Are you able to take a moment and go, hey, I went from reading Superman comics and now I'm in a Superman movie?
I do it every day. I could not have planned for this life that I'm living. I could not have planned for this career, but I certainly dreamed about it. I can't believe that I've had the luck that I have had. But I know a lot of people who are more talented than I am, who don't nurture relationships, who are not grateful for what it is they've already received, that they feel they need more, perhaps. And I don't see them around anymore. It's a whole conflux of things that have to happen. I am forever grateful for my opportunities. I can't believe on a daily basis that I'm living in Los Angeles, that I'm on a hit TV show with an incredible cast and fantastic people, not an ego in the bunch, the best job I've ever had. I have a fantastic boss who's a good friend of mine, who, when I say to him, my friend James wants to put me in Superman, he goes, don't worry, we'll arrange the schedule, we'll get you out.
This is the rookie, get away from the, I understand, yeah.
This is the rookie, and he sees the value, he sees the value for me, he sees the value for the show, and he makes sure that I can get out and do these other projects and enjoy this incredible life. And then I call home to my folks and to my brother, to my nieces, all of whom are very close with me, and I say, I can't believe what's happening. None of us can believe it, none of us. But I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Nathan, it's such a joy to talk to you, and very proud of you here in Canada, I tell you that much.
Thank you, Dr. Power.
I really should do this when I should really do, I should be stroking a cat or something like that while I'm doing this.
What a pleasure. You're great at this.
Stop it.
All right.